Good evening, everyone. Severe Weather Team 9 meteorologist Nathan Chet with your weather update. And what a day across the Ohio Valley. Really quite historic in a couple of ways, which we'll dive into. And of course, we have to track that cool down tomorrow. Our temperatures fall back the 50s in the morning, 40s afternoon, 30s tomorrow night. By Friday morning, back likely below freezing, even into the upper 20s. From there, it's a cooler stretch, but more seasonable stretch of weather going through the weekend. We'll track some more showers likely returning Saturday. And yes, we'll have some showers with that cool down going throughout the day tomorrow as well. So without further ado, quite a few things to talk about. Let's jump into things, shall we? Our current temperatures right now across the area are still residing in the 70s across most of the area. We'll see those temperatures again drop off quite a bit, though, here over the next 24 hours. Still sitting in the 80s, New Martinsville, and that's where we did have that high temperature for today, which did manage to climb just into the 80s at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. New Philadelphia Airport coming up short at 76 degrees. Pittsburgh International Airport at 80 degrees. So we did have a new record high set at Wheeling. We had a new record high set at Pittsburgh, as well as Morgantown, Clarksburg. Looking into locations here locally, that's where we saw some of those record highs. For the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, the previous record was 77 degrees. That was set in 2012. So this isn't a matter of just beating it by a degree or two. This was several degrees that we managed to beat that record high by. Barbara says, watching but couldn't post in time. Barbara's joining us this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Terry says, hello there, Terry. Thanks for tuning in. And Terry says, oh, that sucks. Not a fan of that cool down, huh? Enjoying those temperatures today, Terry. It was certainly nice. But yeah, the cool down is now upon us, unfortunately. And here for the foreseeable future, it is much cooler with respect to what we had for today. And just how rare were these 80s today? Well, we knew it was rare for today. We had the new record high, right? But 80-degree temperatures in March is quite rare for our area. You know, this isn't typical. And as we look back, at least since 2000, so we're looking over 25 years here. And what we've had in the past 25 years, only 2 out of the past 25 years have managed to have an 80-plus high temperature. We had 2 of them this year for this month. And back in 2012, we managed to have 3 80-degree days. And since 2000, the 5 days that you see on your screen, that's it. That is it in 25 years. We've only had 5 days. That's over 700 days total, and only 5 of them have managed to reach 80 plus. So yeah, this is certainly quite historic in terms of dealing with temperatures this warm. Again, this is more than, unseasonably warm. I think we're getting to the point where, we are extremely above normal, if you will, as certainly not accustomed to this warmth, at least into March. Again, it's just a testament to how rare it was today. And not only did we have some very warm temperatures, but another thing that made today so historic, which unfortunately yielded to the fire concerns that we had, right? The red flag warning. That's because we had not only these warm temperatures, we had the gusty winds, nothing significant about those. We weren't dealing with damaging winds today, but it was the humidity, the dew points. It was so dry today. In fact, I did some digging, and from what I could find, at least from what's on record for the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, this was the very first time on record today, the first on record where we had a temperature reach 80 plus, and our dew point was below 20 degrees. This yielded a relative humidity less than 10%. We were down to 9% for at least 3 hours going into this evening. So this is, again, quite historic today, which we were thinking just, it was pretty quiet, but in reality, this was historic weather conditions that we had today here into the Ohio Valley. And again, just another testament, the very first on record in terms of what I could find at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, where we had a temperature 80 plus and a dew point below 20 degrees. Extremely rare. That is very dry air with temperatures this warm. Typically, you're dealing with much more humidity in place when temperatures are ramping up at least into the 80s. Very abnormal, to say the least, to deal with this low of a dew point, that low of humidity, and that high of a temperature. So some interesting things and some more digging to do. But in terms of the relative humidity at 9%, that's the second lowest on record that I found so far for the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. What's on record? The first was 8% being the lowest. So just another statistic for you in terms of just how dry and warm it was for today. Now, after today, yeah, we're going to see things change quite a bit and really just getting back to more seasonable values. We're not going from way above to way below. We're really just going from way above to near normal. That's the reality that we're setting up. But those temperatures are highs mid to lower 50s for a lot of the stretch starting tomorrow and even continuing into early next week. We can get a couple days going into the middle of next week where it turns chilly on us. We can string together at least a couple days where highs are in the 40s. So a lot of these days looking ahead, at least going through the weekend, are more cool, but it can turn a bit chilly on us going into the middle of next week. Again, nothing way below normal though. It's not really cold for this time of the year, but certainly more seasonable to even a little bit below normal. That's likely our pattern for not only the remainder of this week, but likely into much of next week as well. And those temperatures tomorrow, it's a bit deceiving. That high in the 50s, that's going to be in the morning. Again, those temperatures are cooling throughout the day. So in terms of the coolest afternoon through the weekend, that likely does arrive for tomorrow. And we're going to be tracking increase in cloud cover overnight out ahead of those showers with the cold front passage. Now, the rain likely holds off until very late tonight. So most of tonight, we are going to remain dry. And again, our temperatures are going to hold into the 70s, 60s going throughout much of the night. It's not until tomorrow morning then the temperatures do dip into the 50s. As you can see, we will likely be dealing with some showers around going into the morning commute. We'll see these showers then carry over into the latter part of the morning. This is when we're seeing, again, right around that morning commute time frame is when we'll deal with not only these scattered showers, but the cold front will likely pass around that time. So once we get behind that going into midday, notice our temperatures start to drop off already. So that's when we go from the 50s morning to the 40s in the afternoon. We'll continue to fall through the 40s with the continuation of these rain showers going throughout the afternoon hours. By the evening and early tomorrow night, this is when we'll see as temperatures start to fall through the 30s, a transition from rain to snow. Now, there's not a whole lot of precipitation left by the time we get that transition from rain to snow, so we're not dealing with much of it, but we can have at least a couple snow showers in the mix. Yeah, we can at least see some snowflakes fly through the air going into the end of the day tomorrow. And yes, tis the season for these extreme temperature swings. And yes, we are likely going to deal with at least some snowflakes in our area coming off of high temperatures that were in the 80s. So in a matter of 24 hours, that's the difference we're going to see going into tomorrow night. Now, this likely does not yield any snow accumulation. These roads just remain wet. I don't foresee any wintry impacts with this before these showers taper off. Even the latter part of tomorrow night, notice that not only are we drying up, but we're likely seeing a decrease in cloud cover going into Friday and a lot of sunshine then ahead for your Friday. Going to be very nice. We won't see more clouds really start to spill into the area till towards the end of the day Friday. That will then continue into the weekend. That will be out ahead of our next round of some rain showers. You see the skies turning cloudy overnight Friday night. That'll be out ahead of the next round of rain showers that arrives into Saturday. It looks like the good news is that both this round tomorrow as well as the round Saturday do not look impactful. This looks to be a situation where you can say that the showers are more of a nuisance, right? Something we have to dodge throughout the day, more of a nuisance than anything impactful. So this is great news that the next couple of rounds of precipitation we're having is nothing like what we had this past weekend. So we don't have to keep our guard up and worrying about any really impactful things coming our way going into tomorrow or likely going into Saturday either, as we're dealing with some rain showers during that time. But again, thankfully, it doesn't look like we're dealing with anything that's going to be a threat for severe weather. Thankfully, these rainfall amounts, not only for this round Thursday, but into Saturday as well, look light. I think for both of these rounds, we could very well stay within a trace to a tenth of an inch. That's where most of us can end up with not only this round, but for into Saturday as well. So these are some light rainfall amounts where flooding is not a concern. And while, yeah, we will have some gusty winds, thankfully, these wind speeds not anticipated to reach levels where they start to become damaging winds. And I think it's possible. We're dealing in general with wind gusts upwards about 30 miles per hour tonight and tomorrow. It's possible at times, especially with this cold front passage tomorrow morning, maybe we do exceed 30 mile per hour wind gusts. But again, likely nothing that's going to reach to the extent of where we're dealing with damaging winds across the area. And those winds will then diminish tomorrow night Going into Friday, a lighter wind in place Friday with plenty of sunshine in place for the end of the work week before, again, we'll track more of those showers moving back into the area. So to sum it up for you, your 9+1 day forecast, again, we're dealing with those showers tomorrow. We're dealing with showers again on Saturday. Neither day looked like a washout. These showers are been on and off going throughout the day. I don't foresee a washout for Thursday, Saturday. Again, keep in mind our precipitation totals for Thursday as well as Saturday, likely where most of us will remain within that trace to 1/10 of an inch. If we're seeing anything more than that, it's likely only up to about 1/4 of an inch. Again, thankfully, these amounts look light for both time periods. Sunday, we're spending a lot of the day dry. At the end of the day, though, we will track some rain moving into the area. That will carry over Sunday night. We'll see some more showers on Monday. So it's a bit of a wet stretch there for that period of a few days, Saturday into Monday. But again, I still think we have a good amount of dry time to be had this weekend. Most of the day, Sunday is going to be dry. It's really not until the very tail end of the day that we'll start to spot some rain moving back in. And Saturday, there's still some dry times to be had with those showers. I think really the emphasis Saturday is more morning into the early afternoon. I think we can't even start to dry up for the latter part of the day Saturday. So still a decent amount of dry time, I think, to be had for this weekend. There's that chilly stretch of weather that we were mentioning going into the middle of next week where temperatures will likely fall into the 40s. And we can have a couple showers around during that time period, but doesn't look overly wet during that stretch. And yes, we can see a snow shower back in the mix, but nothing that looks to be overly impactful, at least as it stands now, coming our way going into the middle of next week. And temperatures do look to start to rebound into that following weekend. So I think right at the very end of this month, temperatures can start to pick back up. But for a lot of the stretch, of course, coming off of today, highs in the 80s, nothing of that sort looks to return here for the near term for a lot of the remainder of this month. But I do think temperatures can start to pick back up right at the end of the month as we do look ahead towards the end of the month in that following weekend. And Terry says, don't look too bad. Terry says, not looking too bad in the 9+1 day forecast. Yeah, nothing overly real cold, right? It's just more seasonal. Normal high does climb in the 50s this time of the year. And that's where we are really for a lot of this stretch over the next 10 days. Again, thankfully, nothing that looks to be highly impactful coming our way going through this weekend. Just going to be dodging some showers at times tomorrow as well as Saturday. And again, we'll watch some rain moving into the area at the very end of the day on Sunday. So yeah, Terry, not too bad, right? I don't think so either. Not too bad of a stretch of weather coming our way here over the next 10 days. Appreciate you joining as always. Thanks so much. I hope you had a wonderful day. Enjoyed some of these very warm temperatures for this time of the year. And yeah, it's back to reality tomorrow. We're going to be watching those temperatures drop throughout the day. Gusty wind will certainly add a chill to the air by the afternoon. So certainly going to want to take that jacket with you. Likely didn't need it today. Maybe even broke out the shorts today, but it's going to be a much different story for tomorrow. Unfortunately, if you were enjoying the warm weather, we're going to have to wait likely at least a couple weeks here before we have a chance to see temperatures pick back up again to anything close to what we had for today. And Terry saying, have a great night. Couldn't agree more, Terry. Have a great night as well. Thanks so much again to all of you tuning in. Have a great night. You can catch me coming up on Newsnight at 10 on Fox 9, Newsnight tonight at 11, and of course, right back here tomorrow evening for your next weather update.